Perfect. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our continued conversation of Let's Talk Career Opportunities in Healthcare. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Selena Jimenez, your host. Um, I'll be filling in for Shruti Kathari. Today, I lead employer brand recruitment marketing here at Blue Shield, and I'm excited to share a few things of what makes Blue Shield a great place to do meaningful work and how you can possibly land a career here with us at Blue Shield. So, Sherron, if you can give us a little insight on your role here at Blue Shield and why you chose a career in healthcare, specifically Blue Shield of California.
Certainly. Hi. So Sherron Hawkins, and I have been with Blue Shield for just about 15 months, or approaching 15 months. And I started my career with Blue Shield, and I had such an amazing time changing industries and coming to Blue Shield. I've been in the talent acquisition world for about 20 years, and so I have a lot of experience, and I've done a lot of recruitment across different industries. But coming to Blue Shield was something that was special and meaningful to me because I actually had Blue Shield growing up as a child, and it was something that really resonated for me when I saw that the position was posted and I submitted my application. It actually felt good to apply because I knew I was applying somewhere that actually does good work for the community and does good work for people. So it was a really different experience applying this time for an opportunity and to come into healthcare.
Great. I love that. I noticed that a lot of people do come to Blue Shield because of its mission, its values. And I've also heard that, them having Blue Shield growing up has made a positive impact to them. And I can even say myself, being here for 3 years now, that there are other reasons why it is a great place to do meaningful work, including our volunteer contributions and our giving program. So can you give us some insight about that and what Blue Shield does to help support its surrounding communities?
Absolutely. It was one of the selling points for me when I said yes to Blue Shield. To know that a company really supports, not just talks about giving back, but really actually encourages employees to give back is something that is really resonated. Just this last year alone, we had 40,000 hours of volunteer time given by our employees, which is an incredible amount of time to give back to our communities, and particularly to do it around the things that we love and that mean and matter to us. We also have a really great give back program where we do a dollar for dollar match. So our employees are able to really connect to the communities and to the issues that matter to them. And Blue Shield will donate up to $1,000 per year to those causes. So when you talk about it and then you actually see it in action, that volunteering takes on a whole different meaning because we're actually able to do it in the course of our work days, which is a phenomenal experience.
Yeah, and I want to go back to the 40,000 hours. That being done in a virtual environment, Blue Shield, I feel like, gave its employees the opportunities to still contribute and found
Mhm.
ways around even being in the pandemic to give back to their communities. Can you share some ways that you've shared and have given back to the community yourself?
Absolutely. Um, I am someone who really has a passion around our unsheltered populations, and so my give back is typically helping with feeding the homeless, providing. I do an annual sleeping bag. When the weather switches, those are the things that I've done personally. But to be able to wrap that into what I do in my workspace is awesome. But one of the things that I actually did for my team, we had a mental health walk, and on a Friday afternoon, I actually encouraged my team to participate in that as their volunteer time. So it's not just about volunteering sometimes externally, but it's also taking care of yourself and your own mental health and well-being. And so to be able to actually make that a volunteer experience for the team to participate in together was great. And you may ask, how did you do that, virtually? Well, we took our cell phones and we FaceTimed each other while we went on this walk. And it was just a really fun experience and just a way to connect as humans doing this work.
Yeah, and you touch base a little bit on mental health. I kind of want to shift us a little bit that way. So, how has Blue Shield helped support its employees, given that we are working from home and things can be a little bit chaotic? How have they supported your mental health and well-being as an employee?
I think the company does a really good job of being aware that there are going to be challenges from working at home and being away from people. And, some people are going to, adjust their lives and want to continue in this remote environment. But we've sort of changed our stance on that as the world has begun to open up. And we have a hybrid opportunity for our employees that will give them the opportunity to go in office and connect with people again, if that's something that they want to do. So each team is able to sort of craft out the right response to this remote environment. And we also have a meeting Fridays where no meetings after 12 on Fridays, to give people the opportunity to sort of put their heads down and to get the work done so that they can go into the weekend refreshed and replenished and ready to come back to work on Monday. So those are just some of the things that I know that have been really great for me. And I'm sure it's great for our other employees as well.
Yeah, and especially coming back into the office, I know you touched a little bit on that, as other employers are opening up their offices and deciding whether they want to go in office or remote or hybrid. How's Blue Shield transitioning, given that they are currently fully remote, but going back into the office in July?
Well, what I've really appreciated is that we've done a lot of conversation around what's going to actually make sense for the individual and for the business, and connecting those. It's not either or, it's kind of a both thing. And so I've been able to talk to my team about how do they want to be communicated? How much information do they want to do in person versus virtual? And just to really craft out something that feels good for the individual is something that we've done a lot of work around. So we have surveys, we're asking questions. We've had a lot of conversation just driven around what's going to make sense for the business, as well as for the teammates that are helping drive this business forward.
Yeah. And I can say I appreciate that leadership is listening to its people, asking them for feedback. What kind of work environment do you want to do? Or what do you need to get your projects and initiatives done for the year? So with that being said, if someone is looking to work for a company such as Blue Shield, having all these perks and benefits and even the workplace model, what advice would you give to them?
Well, number one, apply. We are hiring. We are actively hiring, and we're hiring across all levels. And if you want to make sure that you're the person that gets hired, submit an application and a resume that really speaks to the role, but also uses terminology that speaks across maybe multiple opportunities. We have shifted the way we recruit into skills-based recruiting, which simply means that if you have marketable skills that meet more than one role, we will take a look at your transferable skills and see if they line up for different opportunities, whether you might have applied for them or not. We work and operate as a team. So collectively, if I find a resume that works for one of my teammates who's recruiting across the organization, I will share that resume because of that skill-based recruiting model that we're using. So it really is helpful to have a well-crafted resume. And there are plenty of ways for you to actually develop a resume. My personal tip is to use a job posting to help craft your resume, because sometimes we don't really recognize some of the work that we're doing and we've never really put it into words. So sometimes if you look at a job description, it'll help sort of trigger some of the things. Oh yeah, I've done that. And you can sort of craft a way to say your version of that. But having a really strong resume, having a great LinkedIn profile are also ways to make sure that the team of recruiters here at Blue Shield are finding you.
It's interesting you say that about the job description, looking at that to actually curate your resume. I want to add a little note there for someone who, as we spoke about, going to skill-based hiring, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though you might not have experience in healthcare, but you have an expertise in a certain role or know these skills, to make sure that they add that within their resume or where they aspire to be, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we are looking for, there's core competencies that we believe will be reflective in a lot of different ways. And if you've done data analyst in one field, you could probably use that in a different way in another part of our business. So we want to see that you're able to use those words and those terminologies that will really help your resume and your background in an application stand out.
I love that. And aside from a resume, what can a candidate or prospective candidate do to enhance their LinkedIn profile to be seen by a recruiter?
It's always a great idea to have a professional photo. It does increase your likelihood of being viewed on the recruiter search that we use. And our company is great. We've invested a lot in having the opportunity to go into a recruiter search and to look for our candidates. But when you have a professional photo, it's going to stand out. Don't go and grab your one off of Facebook and put it on your LinkedIn profile. Certainly take a little bit of time to find the right lighting in your room. You don't have to necessarily go out and hire a professional to take your photo. My LinkedIn photo on my page was done right in this corner with the right lighting at the right time of day on my iPhone. And I just crafted it to make it my LinkedIn profile. So have a great picture on there. Invest in your LinkedIn profile, meaning that you're updating it. It's constantly changing and it's fluid. It's something that as you earn and grow a new skill that you're putting it into your LinkedIn. If you take any of the LinkedIn courses, put those in there. Things that you're doing to sort of expand yourself as a professional should be demonstrated in your LinkedIn. And we will be looking for, again, those skill-based words when we are going out to search. So when I do a search, I do a Boolean search and I will look for terms that are reflecting the position, as well as across sort of the organizations and the different roles that I'm actually recruiting for.
Yeah, I could say that I'm guilty of not updating my LinkedIn profile.
No,
And
no.
then also, just across the line, similar with your application and your resume, having those keywords, they're deemed as the same level of importance on your LinkedIn profile, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, the keywords are one thing, growing your network is another. When I've had friends of mine come to me and say, Sherron, I'm about to start my job search. What should I do? I always say, does your network know? So take the time to grow your network. I love when people reach out to me and want to link in with me and craft a small introduction of yourself so that you can make them aware of why you're reaching out. But growing your network actually increases your opportunity for someone like myself to find you. We do a recruiting search that says that looks for people who know people in our company because you may be doing similar work. I might use my employee's name as a search string, and you might pop up because you are now a part of their friend network. So those connections actually will help drive more people to your LinkedIn site.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Networking is key.
Mm-hmm.
Before I jump into our next question, I do want to tell everyone and remind them if they didn't know already to please ask your questions in the Q&A. We have talent advisors online right now ready to answer any questions that you have, along with the Q&A that we have at the end of this.
More than that, we have talent advisors online right now ready to recruit you. It's not just that they're going to answer your questions. If you have resumes to share, you want to get them out there, drop those resumes in that chat. Find out who our recruiters are in the chat. We have our whole team here ready to support and start engaging you to get you on board.
Yes, this is a great opportunity to be seen and heard. So you heard it from a talent advisor herself. So with that being said, can you mention and drop some career opportunities that we're currently seeking to hire for?
Yes, we are hiring across the organization. And I mean, from actuaries to senior director in our legal team, we're looking for folks who have Salesforce configuration experience. We're looking for business analysts, financial analysts, physicians in some respects, customer service positions. We are literally hiring across the organization, and those are some of our critical roles that we're focusing on. We have positions in our people and engagement, our HR space, change management. We have a little bit of everything out there. So I really believe, and again, we are not looking for you to just come from a healthcare background. We're looking for you to come from a background where you want to do meaningful work, where you want to be driven by a mission, where you want to know that every time you come to work, it's going to actually make a difference in somebody else's opportunity to have access to healthcare. If you're that person, then you need to apply. Let us figure out the healthcare background stuff. We're going to make sure that you bring the skills and we're going to try and match you up to the right opportunity.
Yeah. And I just want to echo that. I came in having a digital marketing background, studying communications and business, no idea
Mm-hmm.
that I wanted to be in healthcare. And I jumped sailed into this opportunity with Blue Shield of California. Have been here since, as I mentioned, for 3 years now. And I still have the same love and admiration for it, given our mission values, what we stand for, how we treat each other here. It's very different from what I've been in before. So with that being said, I just wanted to note that because Blue Shield is near and dear to my heart along with the people in it.
Well, I want you to don't forget, Selena, you started as an intern. So, I mean, what a great way to begin your career. So if we have anybody out there who are in college and you're about to, leave school and you're looking for your first opportunity, please know we have internship programs, and we run them every summer. And if you missed out on this year's program, that's okay. Come on back. We're going to offer it next year as well.
Yes, thank you for that. With that being said, we'll go ahead and jump into our Q&A. So we have a question from Maria. How important is a good cover letter versus having a good LinkedIn profile?
I believe that there's room for both. When I have an applicant, usually when I'm looking at an application, there's a cover letter and and a resume. You don't have to. I don't want people to believe that if they don't have a resume, they shouldn't apply. Please don't let not having a cover letter prevent you from applying. But if you are going to craft a cover letter, the cover letter should be something that really tells us why we should bring you in for a face-to-face interview. It should be something that's relatively short, no more than about 4 paragraphs. 3 or 4 paragraphs is typical. The first paragraph is an introduction. The second paragraph is telling us what you will bring to the table, and the third paragraph is typically asking for an in-person or a virtual meet and greet. So that's usually the structure that you want to take when you're crafting your cover letter. But just as long as it's, it really puts more color to your resume. So there is room to have one. Just make sure it's a well-crafted one and nothing too lengthy. As far as the LinkedIn part of that, I want to see both. I do, LinkedIn is where we spend a lot of our time, and a lot of companies spend their time and LinkedIn is probably one of the number one sources for professional hiring. I would arguably say is LinkedIn right now. So it is an investment to make sure that your profile is it's professional, it's well crafted. Always have a second set of eyes on your profile. Have your friends or family members look at it. And if you have a professional that mentors you, have them look at it as well, including any of your old colleagues or professors if you're still in the university space.
Great. Thank you for that, Sherron.
Mm-hmm.
And then from Amina, what efforts are made to ensure diversity and inclusion across orgs in the leadership? In leadership.
We are 100% committed to having a diverse organization that reflects the populations and the communities that we serve. It is something that is near and dear and a passion project of mine is to make sure that I am hiring people that reflect who we serve. And I can't say that enough. And so we make concerted efforts to make sure our jobs are posted in spaces and places where diverse talent will see us. We make a concerted effort to be responsible for our team's understanding of why diversity matters. It's not just enough to say we're going to turn on a diversity switch and everybody is expected to just hire diverse talent, but teaching what the benefits are and why it matters to our business to have diverse representation is what we are striving to do every day. And so we have a lot of commitments around diversity that our leadership team are responsible for being aware of, driving, and actually solving for. And I think that's really where it sits with me. And I know for myself, again, I want to present a diverse slate of talent for my leadership team to look at. And that's something that each of the talent acquisition professionals here at Blue Shield are committed to doing.
Yeah, and I want to comment on that just because I know diversity, equity, and inclusion is a big thing here at Blue Shield, not only because of current events, but given that we're working in the system and outside of the system. Mm-hmm. Being with our communities, serving our communities, you can't be what you can't see. And that's mm-hmm. what I consistently say, not even just for employees who want to grow and develop here, because we do offer a lot of growth and development opportunities, but also just those aspiring to be someone, to be mm-hmm. a leader, right?
Absolutely.
So I feel like Blue Shield does a great job of not just walking or Talking the talk, but walking.
But walking, yes. And
Very.
we have a fantastic diversity, equity, and inclusion team here at Blue Shield, and it's growing and it's building out. And they have some incredible things on deck that I'm hoping each of you will see in a community near you as we go out and we do even more concerted efforts to reach out to our communities and our populations that we serve.
So next question from Stephanie. What is the best way to transition into healthcare? I'm in HR.
Well, I was not in healthcare, and really the best way to transition is to just put in the application, is to try. So often we quit before we quit, right? So don't prevent yourself from applying. And if you don't get it the first time, it may not be because you didn't have healthcare background. Don't make up in your head what are the reasons for you not getting a role. It really is simply a matter of applying. When I applied to Blue Shield, I was attracted to the job and to the opportunity that the job description was telling me. And so that's what made me apply. It wasn't really, oh, it's healthcare, I don't know if I can do it. And I came from a transportation automotive background into healthcare. So really, I can't say it enough from my own personal experience. It really is just applying. Please don't limit yourself by believing that a healthcare company only wants healthcare talent. That is not the case for Blue Shield.
Yeah. And I just want to remind you, there's talent advisors that are in the chat. So
Yep.
Connect with them.
And we're hiring in HR. So go ahead and drop that resume in, Stephanie.
Thank you. So from Trisha, how to transition to the carrier side of healthcare and welfare benefits, coming from broker employer benefits side of life.
That's going to be again. I would go back to applying. I'm interviewing folks right now who are on one side of the business, and the way that they're answering the questions for me are that they now have the opportunity to give a 360 look at the work. And so it actually becomes a benefit if you can sit in an interview and share with me how your background is going to now be an advantage for the work that we're doing. So if you're able to actually do that, then that's all you have to do, is be able to tell that story and how the work that you're doing now will actually make you a better candidate for us.
And I also want to go back to what we were talking on earlier about finding those keywords, looking at
keywords, absolutely,
and looking at what is it saying and wanting, and making sure that your resume kind of reflects that. I've heard from many, and me myself being a career coach, knowing looking at those keywords is key to getting your eye or someone's eyes on a resume. Mm-hmm. So if you just throw in and show examples of what the job description's looking for, you'll have a greater chance of making it to an interview. Although Blue Shield, like you said, we're changing our ways of hiring, going to skill-based. Mm-hmm. It's always that, oh, what if they don't see my resume? Or what if I don't hear back? There's always that what if. So make sure you're doing your best when it comes to curating your resume to reflect a job description.
And please know, on top of that, we are always holding on to talent. And there are times when we fill roles before you've had a chance to speak why the role should be yours. Don't believe that we're not holding on to your resume. We are holding on to great resumes for a future opportunity to get in touch with you. So we do a great job of pipelining and holding on to people that we believe could be great candidates for us in the future.
Great. So another question for you, Sherron. I know we have 7 minutes. What will be the criteria for evaluating performance as an employee once they make it into Blue Shield?
Once you come into Blue Shield, we have a really nice review system. And I don't even know if I would call it, a review system, because it really is a partnership in the way that we look at performance. We do an annual review. And we do actually a half-year review, and that was new for me. I came from a company that we just did annual reviews, so you had to remember what some of the things that you were working on, and hope that by the time the next review cycle came along, that you had done that work. But here at Blue Shield, you'll actually have a moment to check in at the halfway point, so that you can reassess, reevaluate, and make sure that you're on track to hit those goals that you've established with your team lead. So I think that the way that we do that gives you an opportunity to be supported, to be coached, and to be prepared for the next opportunities to promote within the organization.
Yeah, and I also want to know, I know I keep noting and commenting, but there's just so many great things happening, is what we've recently implemented too is the opportunity for promotion,
Mm-hmm.
right? Into our professional development plans that we have in place. So that's a great new thing that we've installed into our Blue Shield system.
And honestly, I think what's great, we do have a commitment to internal promotions. And as much as we're going to look outside for talent, we do want the opportunity to give the folks that are sitting at Blue Shield the chance to promote as well. So we have a really strong commitment to making sure that we do a really good job of internally promoting. We have a really good employer referral program as well. So if you know some folks here at Blue Shield, you can, join that way as well.
And then another question that has come in is, do you have a blind resume review program? And what are ways you try to ensure lack of bias?
We don't have a blind resume review program. I believe that we work towards a lack of bias by having a well-trained talent acquisition team. We do training around, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I'm just trying to say this in the right way, but I don't believe we have a blind resume process because we have a really well-trained team of professionals looking at your resume. And again, with skill-based recruiting, it does actually take away some of the bias that might exist because we're literally looking for those key words that are going to qualify you for the work. And so, yes, do I think that there's some value in having blind resumes? There is some value in that, but I really feel strongly that the team that we have in place today does a really good job of recruiting with diversity and inclusion in mind.
Great. Thank you, Sherron. Well, those are the only questions we have in the chat right now. So I do recommend anyone who has any future questions or questions that come to mind later to drop them in this chat. We'll have talent advisors looking at them later. And I also want to say thank you so much, Sherron, for chatting with me today, talking about the opportunities we have here at Blue Shield and how to be seen. And thank you to the audience for tuning in.
And thank you, Selena, for stepping in and doing this because I know that you were not ready, but you did an excellent job. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.